How you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. And for my money, flight sims were hard to translate to the NES. Almost as difficult as strategy games, but some companies made that work. But military sims and flight simulations, it was a hard time. It was a struggle. Because you got games like Today's Game or Silent Service, and I know those are two different types of vehicle, but trying to make that stuff work on an NES that didn't have a lot of memory, didn't have a whole lot of graphical fidelity, more so than a lot of other home consoles. But yeah, it was a hard struggle. Every now and then it will work out, but then you got stuff that tried to add some arcadey stuff in there, like Top Gun, and they just get maligned. Today's Game wants to be Top Gun, for better or for worse, but there are some bits and pieces in here that just don't feel good. And I want to blame Imagineering for that, because Imagineering developed this, and Imagineering hasn't had a great track record on the NES. This game is from 1989, 1990, around that time. And it was published by Activision, who was up and down on the NES. Those Ghostbuster games are terrible. Some of the other stuff they did, pretty good. This sits somewhere in the middle. Today, we're going to take a quick look at Stealth ATF. Now, the ATF here means Advanced Tactical Fighter. Just to get that out of the way. But this game is interesting because you control a stealth fighter. And said stealth fighter, there's actually a stealth button in the game. Like, you press start and you can go into stealth mode. Problem with stealth mode, we're gonna go and get this out of the way right now. Not only do you drop off of enemy radar, but enemies drop off of your radar. So, that's not how. Anyway, you control a stealth fighter, and you have to take off, fly a mission, and then land. You control takeoffs and landings. And I truly despise when games make you do these things. It's cumbersome. It never feels good, especially on these older consoles. But Imagineering tried here. They gave it a good old effort. But this game is real heavy on on management of menus and stats, like conserving ammo and making sure that you have enough fuel to survive a mission, stuff like that. As far as the actual gameplay, it is a little choppy. I don't know, it might be me, but turning your plane and maneuvering your plane feels a wee bit choppy, and that's something you don't need in a airplane combat game, not one that's supposed to be this realistic. It just feels like it's lost somewhere and it's trying to find its way home. That baby ain't got no clue on how to get home. But this tried. It was a thorough effort. Music's okay. You don't usually get music during missions in games like this, so that was interesting. But you can turn it on and off. But the biggest problem that I have in this game is that whole thing with the stealth. Like, that's not how these things work. Enemies don't disappear off your radar when you go into stealth mode. That's ridiculous, right? Or am I tripping? It's like that password in Tecmo Bowl where you can play as the invisible team. All it does is glitch out your screen. Yeah, that's the password that exists, by the way. This game tries and it does okay, but it missed some stuff. It missed some stuff real bad. And again, that's Imagineering's fault, because of course I'm going to blame Imagineering, because Imagineering is awful. Anyway, if you decide you still want a copy of Stealth ATF, because it's not awful, it's just you can get a copy of Stealth ATF for like $1. Like, there are plenty of copies of this floating around on eBay. You can get one for, you can realistically get one for about 99 cents. You'll pay more for shipping than you will for the actual game. But most copies are going to go for probably around $5. I wouldn't pay a whole lot for this, and you shouldn't either. Again, it's not a great game, not an awful game. It's Imagineering doing what Imagineering did. You know? Such mediocrity. But this has been the 8-Bit Animal, and I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow. Tomorrow, Unga Bunga Ninja Stars, you heard me?